Hello everyone, Michelle here from the Creative Cove. Thanks for joining me today. I'm still working on my scraps. Not sure they're getting any lower. I feel like we've done a few videos now and I still have lots. So, gonna keep going here. Today I thought we'd play with stamps. I just started here, just playing with some stamps, and then I thought, they're still kind of scraps, but they're elevated scraps. So now I could put them in a little folder or something and then pull them out and glue them straight into my journal or embellish them further. But they're not just plain scraps anymore, which makes me feel a little bit better about my scrap collection. So I just pulled out a bunch of different stamps that I have. I don't have a huge collection, but I do have some fun ones I thought we'd play with today. So I'm just pulling out a scrap and stamping. So this ink that I just pulled out, and I haven't used before, it's secondhand ink. I just got it at the thrift shop, if I can figure out how to close it up. It's called Whisper Exclusive Inks, and it's water-based dye ink, acid-free, close to my heart brand. I thought it was kind of based on the tag here, kind of cream, but it's actually green. So who knew? So throw some green in there. And then I've got a collection of all kinds of different stamps. Some are, this one I got off Amazon, thrift shop. This one I'm not sure where I got it. This one was a thrift shop. This one I got from a product review I did. Journals Say, I think, was the product review. I have my stamps, my bugs and my birds out from Pam Artist Studios. They have a collection of my drawings that they turn into stamps. So I will link them below if you're interested in those, because that I have the link to. Some of my own carved stamps, which I love to do. I have videos on that as well, how to have fun carving those out. I've got this one. I'm pretty sure I got it at the thrift shop. And then I have a series of these cheapy dollar store ones, which are also kind of fun to use. So I'm just going to randomly stick stuff down. And I'll show you how I go about it, in the sense that I like to build up some either interesting overall images or some focal point images. And I'm sorry if the camera shakes while I dab, but this ink pad's, even though I've hardly used it, I don't think I've ever used this one because I didn't know I had this soft green. It might shake the camera a bit because the camera's mount is attached to the same table as me banging around. So even when your stamps don't turn out the best print, you can still have fun with these scraps. So you can use them in a sense that you can cut them up again and turn them into little textured papers instead of having like just a focal point. So in this case, I'm just going around and throwing down this stem here and using that as a print, as texture, as opposed to the whole stamp. And then maybe we'll just add some ink in, some hand-drawn ink. This is a pigment liner. I believe it came with my Mei Liang paint set, and it's a water resistant. So I'm just going to kind of pull out maybe some of these details here, just for some interest. And I just make collections of stamped papers. You know, you can elaborate on the stamp and just have fun playing with your scraps and your stamps. And you might surprise yourself at the kind of papers you can come up with. And even that alone, I kind of like, because I can now add, say, let's do a sample of it here. Another scrap right in front of it. And have this kind of show up in the background, and maybe even a little bit through the middle. And then let's stamp this guy. Let's Find a stamp we like. Something like this, maybe. I love the rustic look of hand-carved stamps. I'm not a very good carver. I'm quite impatient, but I kind of like the look that it gives. So it's very rustic looking. And I really enjoy carving my own stamps. And it's not as intimidating as it sounds. Let's see, that's kind of nice. And then maybe ink around the edge. So basically you're building up ready to use ephemera in your journals, or elevated scraps where you can take them to another level while you're journaling. You just pull out your, instead of pulling out all your stamps, you can just pull out your stamped scraps. And then we'll glue that down. Even the other side's kind of pretty. And then that's that one done. Try and center it. You could sew through this too, which would be really nice. But there we go. So there's a little bit of rice paper, I think is what it was, and it's got some really nice finished textures on it. So there's another piece. Let's use that. Put the lid on my glue. Let's do a focal point on this one. Maybe open one of these. Let's do the dragonfly. Who doesn't love dragonflies? So these are just from the cheapy dollar store. I think I paid $1.50 for these. I'm not sure if there's any detail in them. It could be junky. I think I've used this dragonfly before on one of my sewing projects. Maybe not. He's pretty stuck on there. Ugh. He looks pretty clean, so maybe not this one. I don't have one of those acrylic stamp pads. I wish I did. So I'm just using a lid off another ink. I'm going to stick with the green for a bit and see if I can load it up as best I can. Let's throw that down. That's cute. And then maybe add it to another piece of fabric, another piece of scrap. So I have this guy. It's a bit small. I don't know if my scraps are in view, sorry. Here's a scrap. Something like this. And then maybe another scrap behind that. Too dark. Something maybe soft coffee dyed. Something like this. Oh, it's lost. Okay, let's go reverse here. Okay, let's cut this because I want a clean edge on this one. Let's put a little bit of ink around the edge here. Got that. Put some texture and stuff on him, or maybe we'll just put a place to write on him. Hopefully I'm in view there, sorry. Something like that. And then maybe we'll just use this and make a tiny little, actually kind of like that. Yeah, let's do that. I'll put this down. And then we'll put this down. I didn't ink the edge of the white, which I should have, but I didn't. I think I'll cut this part off to start. See if I want to leave that up there, which I don't. So I'm going to cut this off. We'll ink the edge here. And if I had words, I'd put a words, oh, here's a word. amazing. Let's use that. All right. It's not a very super strong color either. And maybe kind of add little bits of the word throughout, just more of a textured thing. I find he doesn't show up that much, so I'm going to draw a little. Do I want pencil? Yeah, I like the pencil. So we'll just fill him in a little bit with pencil. Okay, so that's pretty simple. And again, that can get torn up. It can be added as a journal card. It's crooked, but I kind of like it. I am going to straighten out a wee bit, just because that corner bugs me a little. But again, it's just scraps, right? Okay, next. Let's see what other scraps we have. Maybe we'll change the ink color. Let's pull a few out. Let's go to a different color. Let's go to slate. So I got, I think, 6 of these in one little baggie at the thrift shop. And they were great. Let's see what color this is. I think I paid like $9 for them. I'm going to push down and clean up the ink on the corner here. Because again, it is just scraps. I'm really just making a mess, which I love doing. So there's the amazing one. I might give this a bit of a wipe if I can find something to wipe it with. Okay. And what else? What other stamps do we have here? This is really pretty. Let's use this guy. I'm just going to use my fingers. They're already a mess. My fingers are always a mess. But that's when you know you're having fun. So even just something like this, and just putting it aside, ready to use, is fun. All right, let's go into gray maybe. So here's a little folder. This out the way. I'm going to use my hand carved one. And I do have videos on these. Because I just loved making them. So I'm just using bits and pieces of the stamp itself, just for texture. And maybe we'll use the writing on this one. So my old writing one that I got from Amazon is my favorite stamp. So I don't even care if the writing's upside down. And then I think I will just doodle on this one. Just kind of pull out some fun details here. Very loose, very quick. Kind of creating your own papers, but using up your scraps. It doesn't take long. The idea is to have fun with it. You can take your time. You know, maybe you're a super neat crafter. I unfortunately am not. I'm very messy. But that's okay. There's no wrong or right here. It's just having fun with your goodies. Hopefully I'm in view there. Didn't even check. Add a little dots in for some more texture. I think I have a dot one around here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. Little round dots. Let's try that. That's fun. Okay, we'll edge that up. Looks like wallpaper to me. You can put bees in here if you like your honey bees. Put a bee in here. I had one a second ago. Where did I put him? I should tidy up a little bit so I don't lose them all. Can't find him. Do I have another one? Here's a little bee. Here's a little bee. So just put him in nice and easy. Just little bits. There we go. So there's another piece. You can just turn that into a little booklet by adding scraps into that. You know, and then you've got something you can just insert into a journal. Okay, do a couple more because they're so much fun. I like this guy. Let's try him on here. Of course, you would get a cleaner result when you use an actual stamp pad. But if you guys know my channel, you know it doesn't bother me when things get messy. That's pretty. I like that. Let's put it on here. Just gonna do kind of random stamps with this. And then maybe we'll go into our little bugs here. So these are like a dense foam. I have a video on how I used these when I first got them. So cool. Love it. I love bugs though. I find them fascinating. Sorry if I'm off camera. And again, just using bits and pieces, not the full stamp, to create some interesting paper. Okay, that's that one. And then we could do something like lines in it for journaling space. I don't know if this thing works. It's so old. Not sure where I got it from. Or you can use it as part of texture for the background, right? So there's that one. Kind of fun. Could tear it up into pieces for collaging and just have this really interesting, hey, what's that look to it? You know, just something that simple can be really fun to add to a journal. It doesn't have to be a massive focal point. It can be, you can just simply have some interesting textures and little bits of pieces of images where the viewer is kind of figuring out, hey, what am I looking at? Something like this. I'm gonna clean up the edges here and just ink them. You could round the corners. You could, of course, add more stamps. And I'm just using the ink as stamping right now. I'm not even smudging the ink yet. So something that simple. So we'll move that. I'm having fun. I'm doing more. I'm trying to use up these scraps. I don't know what this stuff is. More scraps. That came out. All right, let's see what other stamps have we got. I've got this guy. This ink kind of has a green tinge to it too. You could do something as simple as an individual stamp just like that. and then it can get glued right into a journal. Or if you wanted to, you could add your lines back on and use it as a journaling card. So again, using up scraps, getting them ready to use in your journals. So that one, these are really pretty. Let's try one of these. Burn. It's kind of cool. Put that there. Maybe add a little bit more texture. And then maybe this one will add a little bit of interest and texture down the center here. I've got this kind of magical little cluster ready to go, and it's just using stamps and scraps, just like that. Throw some, oh, sun's home again. Throw some stitching in there. Have yourself a cool little accessory to go in. Oops. He's gonna bark.